Hello, everyone. This is Lauren Fogelman. Welcome to today's training on how to increase your value and create irresistible packages. And what I have found with so many entrepreneurs that I speak with, connect with, network with, have really the privilege to work closely with is that you do meaningful work. You truly, deeply care about the difference that you make for your clients, that impact that you have. And so often you tend to undervalue what you have to offer, the outcome, the way that it makes a difference. And as a result of it, you're not earning as potential money as you could. Now, what I have seen with the entrepreneurs that I tend to connect closely with is you're doing what you do because you feel that it's purposeful, it has meaning for you, you absolutely love the work, and the money, it is important. However, it's secondary. It's not the primary reason that you're in business. And a lot of times because that, it's so much easier to promote somebody else's worth and to see somebody else's value than it is to have that happen for yourself. And because of that, you might not be actually charging as much as you're worth. And what we're going to focus on today is something that can start to change that. If you are an entrepreneur who feels that you are buried in the tasks, the administrative work, the things that keep you busy, and not enough time to really focus on working on your business, those advanced moves that will help you grow, then you're absolutely in the right place. If you are familiar with value-based pricing, you've heard about it. You've maybe even looked at how that could work with your business and you just aren't quite sure how to make that happen, then the packages are actually part of the solution. They're a key piece that helps you to switch from charging by the hour, the project, the session, over to charging for value. And if you are someone who is doing a lot of hands-on work, you feel like you're the technician in the business, but it's not really using that expertise that you bring to the table, that's maybe being undervalued or totally overlooked. It's not appreciated by your clients because they don't even recognize that you're doing that for them at that higher level, and you want to do more of that with your clients, then you're absolutely in the right place today. The packages help to solve so many of those problems and so much more. Just a little bit about me is that I have realized that my education, my training has prepared me for that thing that I do, helping people to get unstuck, get out of their own way, to be able to achieve their full potential, to connect with their self-worth and their value, and create a business that supports their lifestyle instead of one that sucks the life out of them. My education, my training gave me the skills for that. But what I realized as I shifted from working for someone else into my own business is that all of my training actually geared me to work for someone else, to be an employee as opposed to being an entrepreneur. They didn't teach me some of those finest skills regarding business development. And a lot of what I have done since I moved into having my own business is focusing on how to do high-ticket sales conversations when I really don't like the sales part, and also how to be able to price my services according to value as opposed to trading dollars for hours. Over the years, these are some of the places that I've either affiliated or I've spoken to and really feel privileged to have had these associations, and some of them continue to repeat and occur over time. So really appreciate those opportunities. What we're going to cover today is to transition your pricing, develop your packages, and things that you're doing that you might not be actually, those extra touches that you offer that you might be overlooking, you're not charging for, you're just possibly writing off because you don't want to nickel and dime your clients, or you just don't know how to bring that to the conversation and actually charge for those things. So we're going to cover those things today. We're going to go ahead and get started into transition your pricing. And just to let you know, I will give you absolutely as much as I possibly can in the time we have together. If you're interested in having a further conversation with me, I'll show you how to do that at the end as well. From my work with ongoing business coaches where I've continued to receive coaching, from working with hundreds of clients, the ability to continue to invest in my own advancement and expertise, being a researcher at heart, I've actually have discovered 5 important steps to be able to price for value as opposed to trading dollars for hours. And I call it the ultimate pricing blueprint. The 5 steps right here is figuring out who your ideal client is, who are the people that you serve. Then looking at your process. How do you define your system? And this is something that applies whether you actually have a laid out system and you know how to help someone achieve a result step by step, or you do things a little bit more creatively and organically. People might ask you how you do that and you really can't articulate it. What I have found is whether you're more the creative or more the organized systems person, you have a system, whether you know it or not. And the more that we can define it, it actually adds value and starts to separate you from the competition. The third part, which we're covering deeply today, is once you're aware of your ideal client and you've defined your system, then let's go ahead and start to create packages. Packages are basically another word for bundling your services together. You might offer a variety of services to clients to help them achieve a certain result or solve a specific problem. And by bundling them together into packages, you're then offering them an opportunity to work with you based upon the value and the result, as opposed to how much time it will take or how many sessions you might be working together through the course of your work in progress. And after we do the packages, then you move on to pricing your services. And because you have packages, you can price for value as opposed to time. This starts to separate you from other people who are charging by the session, the project, or the hour. It puts you in a whole new category. And what it does is that glass ceiling that you might have because you only have so much time in a day, it just takes away that whole ceiling and opens up the possibility for increasing your income, doubling it, tripling it, whatever it is, how big it is that you want to grow. And then the third part is looking at, now that you know who your ideal client is, you know your system, you've packaged it, you've priced it, how do you connect with those people? How do you promote it? And that's looking at the strategy and the marketing so that you can really connect with the people who are looking for what you have to offer and they value it, and you get to work with ideal clients. One of the things that I have learned is that to some degree, we're judging all the time. And nobody wants to be judged. But when you're connecting with an ideal client and talking to them about the possibility of what it would be like to work together, then there's a lot of judgment going on at that moment. What you want to understand is that when you're having that value conversation with a potential client, you want to focus on 2 things that they're really judging the most about. They want to know if you understand their wants, their needs, and their desires. I'll go ahead and define all 3. Their wants are the things that will help make things easier for them. They would like to have those things in place. Their needs are the things that have to be put in place, the foundational pieces, in order for them to be able to move forward, whether it's in their business or from a spiritual place or health and wellness. Those are the foundational pieces. And then the third thing is their desires. And these are the things that they believe they can't have at this moment in time, but they would love to have that happen at some point in the future. They just don't realize that it might be possible now. And it is your coming from a place of higher service. It's when you're having these consultations, you want to have a conversation that really helps to understand what their wants, their needs, and desires are, because it's going to help you define whether you can work with them or not. The other thing is having that conversation may be the first time that they've articulated something or they might get value just from the conversation because they connected with something that they weren't able to connect the dots with before. So helping them understand that during a consultative service session with them is a great way for them to see the value that you offer, because you care about them. You want to know what's important to them as opposed to what's important to you. So that's the first thing, is understanding their wants, their needs, and desires. The second thing that they're judging is, what will the client experience be like? What will it be like to work with you? And they're getting a feel for whether they think that they can work with you, whether they trust that you can help them either achieve the result that they want or solve the problem that they're dealing with right now. So the first thing that they're looking at is understanding and helping you understand their wants, needs, and desires. And the second thing that they're judging is whether they can work with you. And if they do work with you, if they can trust you to help them achieve that end result. This means that it gives you an opportunity to really connect with your highest value, and knowing what your highest value is to your potential client. Because of this, the way that you position it, where they're judging you, and knowing your highest value, it starts to let you shift from charging by the hour, the session, or the project into charging for value, doing what I call value-based pricing. With this shift, what you also want to start to look at transitioning from is being a focus in your business of being on that technical work that you do, the functions that you do, the tasks that are necessary to complete an outcome, get a result. You want to focus on being a trusted advisor to your clients. Being a trusted advisor brings your expertise to the table. It's that higher level service that you have to offer that sometimes gets overlooked by your clients. And now you get to run with it front and center. When your clients recognize your value because you own your value, they actually become better clients, and they seek you out for advice, not just for what's going on here and now, but to help them really to grow and move forward in some direction in the future, for that transformation that you offer. The mistake that happens a lot of times in these value conversations when you're talking with a potential client is that you emphasize what you value most. What you value most might be the tactical things that you do, those tasks, the features, the different types of systems you have in place, because you've put so much time and effort learning those skill sets. And that is coming from what's important to you. But when you shift the focus to what is of the highest value to your client, you want to focus on what's important to them. And there are two main things that are deeply important to them. It's understanding if you can grasp the problem that they're dealing with and help them fix it, or you can help them achieve a result that they're unable to achieve on their own. Because of that, from their point of view, your highest value isn't what you do, it's what you know. It's your intellectual property, your expertise. It's what lies up in your head, in your brain. It's the years of experience and training and working with clients up until this point that you bring to the table here and now. That is what they value most. Therefore, when you're talking with them, you really want to focus on understanding what they want, need, and desire, giving them an example of the client experience, and then letting them see that you have the intellectual property, the expertise to either help them solve that problem or achieve that result. And I will let you know that 75% of the clients that come to you looking to hire you, they are looking to solve a problem. 25% are looking to achieve a result. So be aware of that. It makes a difference as to how you have that conversation with potential clients. The other thing that you want to look at once someone's interested in seriously working with you is, how do you measure success? How do they know if you're on the right path and you're actually delivering on your promise. There's where you want to go ahead and develop what's called your KPIs, your key performance indicators. Basically, it's the measurements. Is there certain things that you're going to go ahead and deliver? Are there certain outcomes that they will experience because of their work with you? Is there some transformation that will happen as a result of them choosing to hire you versus somebody else? Go ahead and find out what's important to them. Get on the same page with them about what those measurements will be about. And that way it helps them know and helps you know also whether you're moving forward and you're on course, or if you've kind of started chasing squirrels and you've gone off course. And if you've gone off course, then how do you go ahead and course correct so you're really going ahead and following through with meeting your promise and delivering what you promised them? One of the things to recognize as you're having a value conversation with a potential client is the effect of comparisons. As human beings, we are always comparing. Most of us feel we're being judged. That's a form of comparison too. And maybe you are. Maybe you're judging people all the time. Maybe people are judging you. That could be very, very true and relevant. When they're in that value conversation with you, packages help to shift the focus of the conversation and what they are comparing and judging. When you charge by the hour, the session, or the project, what most other service professionals do, then a potential client is deciding whether they want to work with you versus someone else. Do you have a better deliverable? Do you have better pricing? But they are comparing you to something external outside of your business and your service offering. When you offer packages, you give them options about how to work with you based upon the result that they want. And it shifts the conversation from them comparing you to other service providers to them now thinking about, how will I work with you? Which package is the best fit for what I want to achieve? Therefore, it's now an internal conversation about just how they want to work with you, not if they're going to work with you. And just think about, if you had that shift happen, how would that make a difference for you and in your business? When we are going from charging by the hour, the package, the session, over to packages, then you're shifting their focus, as I mentioned, from external, comparing you to everybody else, to just looking at the different ways that they can work with you with the different packages that you offer. This is similar to you going through the process of buying a car. You might be considering a Hyundai, a Volvo, or a Tesla. All three of them will meet the needs of taking you from where you are now to where you want to be. They can all offer the transportation and get you to your destination. But there's a difference in the experience, as well as the needs, wants, and desires of you being the person concerning buying that car. And each one of those cars, the Hyundai, the Volvo, and the Tesla, they make a statement about you to other people on the road that are looking at you. If you are driving a Hyundai, then what that might say is that you are economically minded, you want the basic transportation, and you just want to get from point A to point B. That is the priority for you. If you drive a Volvo, the branding about Volvo is that it is safe for families. It's engineered for safety. That is the top priority of Volvo, is to keep your family safe. And then if you're looking at Tesla, it states that you're very environmentally conscious and you want to be environmentally conscious with style. There's no right or wrong about which way you choose to go. It's more preference of what is your needs, your wants, and your desires, because all three of them will take you from point A to point B. The other thing to look at with an advantage of packages is that you're now pricing instead of billing. With most entrepreneurs, what happens is they are meeting with a potential client, they agree to work together. You might be charging, once again, in the more traditional way, by the hour, the session, or the package, and then you bill for your services. Think about how much time is spent billing. You have to track your hours. You have to put together your statements and get them out at the end of every month. Some people might be late on payment, and now you have to follow up on them. Other people might have had a credit card lost, stolen, overdrawn, and you're chasing money. The amount of time that you're using in your business, your precious time, you only have 24 hours in each day, and not all of it ought to be devoted to your work. The amount of time devoted to getting paid based upon billing can be consuming. I have one client that it's so time consuming, he doesn't even bill every single month because it just takes so much time, and he doesn't have enough time to track all the hours that he worked for each client, get his statements together, and get the bills out. We're working on automating that. But the other thing that we're looking at, and this applies to you also, is pricing. When you have packages and you're doing value-based pricing, that means that you're having the value discussion before they begin to work with you. You do not get started until either there's a work agreement in hand with payment information, or they've paid you before you start the work. The way that I coach my clients to do it is to get paid before you start the work, because that way you know that you're not going to be chasing money at the end after the work is done. The reason that this is so important, and it changes everything about your cash flow and your business, is that your work has the highest value before you do it. That's when your client still has that need, want, desire. They're still sitting with that problem that they can't resolve on their own and they need you for. That's when you have the highest value to them. After the work's been done, your value actually diminishes because you've taken away that stressor for them. They've or have lost touch with how dire they were before they spoke to you and you got the work done. Because of that, they might then come back to you with, they've had a tough month and they can't pay you in full right now, so you have to then make payment arrangements. They might want to negotiate your rates. They might believe that you took more time than they expected it to be because they didn't understand the scope of what was involved, and they want some type of discount or write-off. Because of any one of those things, think about how that would keep you from having those uncomfortable conversations if you got paid before you started the work and it wasn't connected to time, it wasn't connected to whether they had the money or not, because you don't do any work if you don't get paid. It was connected to the value that you offer to help them achieve that result that they're hiring you for. With Ingrid, we first met when she just moved her business out of her home into an office. At that point, she was working with many, many different types of clients, and she was, like many other bookkeepers, charging by the hour. In our initial discussions, I talked about value-based pricing, and she was adamant that that was not an option for her because she did not see it as fair. She saw it as being selected with different clients having different needs or different cash flow, and that you were taking advantage of them. And we let the decision go for a while, that discussion. But after she actually went to a conference where they gave her more insights about value-based pricing and how it's actually a trend that's developing with bookkeepers, she came back and she's like, I want to do value-based pricing. Let's get on with this. And at that point, she was all in. So it was that I gave her the seeds. She needed to get some outside affirmation from other people that this is absolutely fair. because it recognizes her expertise, all the years that she's spent honing her skills, the fact that she can help her clients get a better result than if they were doing it themselves, and she saves them time and makes some money. Once she was able to connect with that and hear how other professionals were doing that also, then she was on board. We were able to develop her niche, and her niche is working with entrepreneurs that have travel adventure businesses. Very, very special, very, very special niche that she has. And then we developed her system. We looked at how to package her services together. And like most of the clients that we worked with, we developed 3 packages, which I'll go into in just a couple minutes. And she was off and running. Because of this, she has now gained expertise in her industry. She's invited to industry conferences for travel professionals that work in the adventure tourism industry. And it has changed the entire scope of her business. As a result of it, she's doing the higher level services, the advisory services that she really enjoys most, and has someone else doing the more day-to-day bookkeeping and compliance services for her. So we talked about what the packages are about, and now we're going to go into the steps to start developing your packages. The first thing is to recognize that having packages increases your profits, because it's not about the time any longer. It then opens up the ability for you to become more efficient as well as effective. You actually raise the bar on your own skill set and your expertise when you shift from pricing, when you shift over from charging by the hour to packages. And these are some of the benefits that happen, not just for you, but these are the client benefits that you can bring to the conversation, is you are more efficient. There's actually value to getting a client's problem solved faster than having it take a more drawn out period of time, because then you get to charge more for your services. So it's better for them. They get the solution faster so that they can move on and go on to the next thing, or elevate in another way, instead of it being a long drawn out period. But you also become more efficient as well as effective, because it's not tied to time any longer. The other thing that happens is clients love to know how much the investment is going to be upfront. Because when you're charging by the hour, you can give them a range of it'll be from here, it'll be over to here, but you really can't help them hone in on what it'll be, because it's charged to your time and how long it will take. And what if there's glitches, or what if unexpected things happen, or there's a change in what they focus on now, and you're then adding up the hours, they might end up something that's way beyond what they expected and their budget. So it actually gives them relief to be able to know how much it will be before they even get started with you. If they pay you before you even start doing the work, they're a better client. They're more engaged. They appreciate what you offer, and they see you as a partner working together, where your investment as a cost, because they've now stopped watching the clock. And once again, they paid in full. That means that there's no budgeting involved. It might be that they need to budget to be able to bring you on and hire you, but they're not budgeting to pay you for work that you've already done. You have a work agreement in place. With a work agreement, it's very, very clear and concise as to what you agreed upon as far as outcomes, results, deliverables, but it's also agreed upon as to what it is you will do while working together. And think about that, because so often when someone hires you, things change, things come up, and they might come to you, well, I'm thinking about this and moving in this direction and changing that. And you can go back to your work agreement now and say that this is what we agreed upon. If you want to do this, it's not in our original agreement. We can go ahead and do a new work agreement that adds that in, and this will be about the value of what it'll be for that additional change. Do you still want to do that? And if they want to do that, then go ahead and do an updated work agreement, get paid for that new direction, and then do it. But you have the work agreement that shows what it is that you both agreed to. You're on the same page. It's transparent. And when they come with you all these little things later on, you can actually go back to that and use it as, do we continue with what we originally wanted? Or do you want to go ahead and update the work agreement and make some changes and change the investment? You might find at times they stick with the original work agreement. And then the last thing that happens is there's improved communication between your client and you. The reason that there's improved communication with packages is because they're not watching the clock thinking that, oh, if I call you, it's going to be a 15-minute conversation and you charge X amount of dollars per hour, that this might be a $50 conversation. I don't really think I want to talk with you and reach out to you because I don't want to have to pay that extra $50. And as a result, they might not effectively communicate with you something that came up. They might try to fix it themselves, which actually makes it worse. Or they might not let you know that something, a detail change that was important to the work that you did because they just didn't want to spend that extra $50. So when that's taken off the table, they're no longer watching the clock any longer. They're more likely to keep you informed, updated, reach out to you, and see you as an advisor, that team member, as opposed to seeing you as a cost. Once again, you're now positioned as an advisor and an investment. You're no longer a cost because they're not watching the clock. So here are the steps needed to start to think about your packages. The first thing you want to know is, who is your ideal client? Do you work with a particular population or profession? Do you maybe have a particular specialty? Either one of those could be something that you bring to the table where you've harnessed your expertise. When you're focusing on that, you want to look at the fact that, say your expertise that you're thinking about is in the housing industry. Well, the housing industry could be a realtor that sells houses, or it could be a general contractor that builds houses. Even though they're both in the housing industry, they have two very different business models. They have different needs, wants, and desires. Therefore, instead of being that generalist where you're trying to be all things to all people, think about who you enjoy working with most, the problems that they come to the table with that you enjoy solving, and how you can go ahead and position yourself as the ideal solution for that particular client. Because they start to see you as an expert and a specialist, that actually adds value in their eyes. The next thing you want to look at is the hurdles that they have to overcome. Go ahead and become aware of what are all the challenges that people with that profession, with that problem, with that issue that you solve, what are all the challenges that they face? And become aware of all the ones that you solve as well as the ones that you don't solve, because that's part of what makes you a trusted advisor. It's not just the part that you do and the part that you solve, but having an awareness of the whole scope, the whole picture, and being a resource for them beyond just the work or the skill set that you bring to the table. So start to become aware of what are all the different challenges that they solve. Once you go ahead and list it out, then highlight the things that are under your domain. What are the things under your business that you solve for them that you want to go ahead and offer as far as services within your business? Now that you're aware of all the problems that they have and you know the ones that you solve for them, then start to list out all of your services. Step away from the office, turn off the technology, go to a place where you can concentrate, grab a cup of tea, coffee, wine, whatever relaxes you, and just write. Write out all the services that you offer, the ones that you never charge for because they just take 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, the ones that you never charge for because it would seem that you were taking advantage of a client. It wasn't their fault that that thing happened. List them all out, because once you become aware of them, we can build those things into your packages in order for you to be compensated for those things that you do in order to help your clients fix that problem or achieve that result. No more do you have to write off things that actually add value, help you get to that solution with them because you didn't know how to charge for it. This is what packages look like. Basically, you want to look at, once again, listing out all your services. And when you list out all your services and you compare to the problems that you solve, you want to go ahead and start to group your different services together that solve that particular problem. And it might be that certain services solve multiple different problems that you offer, and that's okay. But it lets you begin to look at your business and what you do from a productized way, which is what packages are. It's productizing your services as opposed to everything being a la carte or one-off. When you go ahead and decide that you want packages, as I mentioned earlier, you offer 3 tiers. This is an example of what I would do with my clients during a session together, is I would actually help them to create their packages. You want to have 3 tiers because people like options. That's really what it comes down to. Research has shown that people appreciate having options. When you offer just one option, one way of working with you, then you're giving them a choice of yes and no. Yes, they're going to work with you, or no, they're not going to work with you and they move on to somebody else. When you give them only 2 options, they're more likely to go with the lower priced option. When you give them 3 options, the majority of people actually fall within your middle package. It's not just going to be with your business. When the packages are set up correctly, then studies have shown that people tend to go with the middle choice. It's similar to Starbucks. When you go to Starbucks, you can study the menu and look at how it's set up, look at their 3 choices that they offer, and a lot of times people will just say, give me the middle one. They don't even know how many ounces might be in the middle one compared to the other 2 options. They're just going with it because it's the easiest choice for them. So the way that your 3 packages are set up, and for simplification, I call them silver, gold, and diamond, is their tiered services. The silver package is the basic service. These are the basic things that your clients need, and the people that are best served in the silver package are the ones that absolutely want to work with you. They understand the value that you bring to the table. However, they're very, very cost sensitive. They might have a very, very limited budget, but they see the importance of working with you and that you're the one to really help them get that result that they want. Therefore, this is really very bare. This is your Hyundai. This is the bare minimum services that will help them to get that result. With the silver package, it might be that you're doing more of advising where they're doing most of the work. You're helping them work through their issue and solve it, but you're not getting your hands in their business that much. You're showing them how to do it, and then it might be more for the DIY person, the person that's willing to do it themselves because they have more time than they have money, but they want to be able to work with you. And they're looking to be able to, they're looking to be able to eventually move up to working with you. And so with your gold package, it has everything that's in the silver, but then there's more. There's more additional services that are going to be offered. It might be that you're spending more time with them in a consultative manner. You are working with them more hands-on towards a particular service. You're doing more housekeeping with them. So there's different things. It includes everything that the silver has, but then there's more. And this is where the majority of your clients are going to fall. So think about when you look at your ideal clients and what they typically need to achieve that result that you offer, go ahead and put all those things into your gold package and then some additional high value things as well. So think about what that would be for you. It's different things for different service providers. Then there's the diamond package. The diamond package is for the people that wanted the Tesla. They love doing everything in style. They see the full value. They have more resources as far as money than they do time. They are looking possibly for the done for you, where you might be doing staff training for them. You're working with them more closely in an advisory capacity to help them maybe 3x their business, to be able to have that bigger transformation than most of your other clients want. And it's so much more access to you. So think about what that would be with the services that you offer and what would be in a diamond package for someone that wants everything thrown in. And the money isn't an issue. They're looking to get the best results as quickly as possible. So that's your silver, your gold, and your diamond package. The majority of clients, once again, will fit into your gold, but everything from the silver goes over into the gold. Everything from the silver and gold goes over into the diamond, but each one is tiered and offers a little bit more. Because of that, the pricing is more also. The other thing to take into consideration is that from your silver to your gold package, it could be that maybe you're doing twice the work, but you're getting 3 times the investment for it. So it's once again not looking at trading dollars for hours. It's looking at perceived value. It's not your perceived value, even though you need to own your value first. It's the client's perceived value of what that has to be. The other thing, which is an advanced move, is that you might have different types of clients that you work with. Let's go with the business to business. You might work with clients that are more startup. You might, as well as clients who are in a growth phase, and then legacy clients. As a result of that, you might have different pricing ranges for each one of those 3 different client types because they have different wants, needs, and desires depending on how mature their business is. And so you can actually price for the client as opposed to pricing for the work that you do. Something to take into consideration, a way to be able to wrap your mind around that is when you're buying airline tickets. When you're buying airline tickets, there is first class, there's business class, and there's coach. Now, we're all on the same plane. We're all going from one point to the other. We all want to get there as safely as possible. But the people in coach are choosing those seats for a different reason than the people that are in business or the people that are in first class. So those seats, they're all seats on the plane, but they're priced differently according to the client and what the client values and where the client's at, as opposed to the fact that we're all riding in a particular type of jet and we're looking to get to the same destination. As you're developing your packages, you want to think about these critical questions. Who is it for? Who is that ideal client that you want to serve, that you actually love working for all day, every day? If you had a practice full of those clients, you would be so happy. The next thing you want to look at is what is the problem that they solve? If you're unsure of the problem, then connect with your clients. Think about who your favorite clients are. Ask them, before we started working together, what was the biggest problem that you had? And what problem did you see me helping you with? That will give you insights. If you don't have any current clients that you feel you can reach out to, you can reach out to potential clients, or you can do a survey and get feedback from a survey. The second thing is coming from an advisory position is what's possible for them once their problem is solved. And that's because you're an expert, you're an advisor, you do this all day, every day, and you recognize not just where they're at, but you might recognize what happens down the road for them that they can't foresee because they've just never been there. Or you might help them put things in place now that will help them for an upcoming challenge, and they'll be able to get through it easier, quicker, and less costly. So think about what's possible for them once their problems are solved, what's that next level for them, and recognize that once they hit that next level, then they have a new set of problems that you are most likely able to help them solve also. And that's what positions you as the expert for your industry and puts you in that advisory position. This is Justin, and when we first met, we had been talking about working together for a while, and circumstances didn't let him do it as early as he wanted to. But when we finally had that value conversation of what it would look like, what he said to me was, Lauren, I have the money saved up, but I was planning on buying the building that my firm was in, because I really would like to have that. And it's an opportunity because the current owner is retiring. And the money's there. It was planned for the building, and I'm not sure how I would be able to afford to work with you. We talked about it a little bit further. We talked about it being an investment of us working together. Some of the things that would happen as a result of our working together that he hasn't been able to resolve on his own. And the fact that when he was having that conversation with me, he was coming from an either or. He thought that either he could buy the building or he could work with me. What I pointed out to him is that I like to find the and. How can he buy the building and be able to work with me? We had that conversation. We explored what that might look like. Fortunately, he made the decision to go ahead and invest in our service and work together. Because of that, he was able to develop his niche into a very profitable niche, working with businesses in the cannabis industry because they have some unique challenges that most other businesses don't have. He became an industry expert. He's been speaking at conferences. He teaches other tax advisors how to be able to niche in that particular area also. He was able to actually pay down his debt in 4 months instead of 5 years. Within 8 months, he bought the building that his firm was in. And he actually went ahead and could triple his rates because we focused on packages as opposed to charging by the hour. Shifting away from the billable hour and changing his business model changed his entire life in ways not just that were obvious, as I mentioned, but now he was able to have actually more time with his family. And after tax season, he usually would feel like he could take like 1 or 2 days off, but then he'd have to go back to work. And this past year, he took a 3-week trip with his family to Costa Rica. So it's not just about this changes how your business work. It gives you more freedom because it gives you more income. It changes, takes you away from time into value. And it opens up and adds more quality to your life. Because I think that as an entrepreneur, you deserve to have a business that supports your lifestyle instead of have you sacrifice your life in order to be a business owner. So let's go into the final section, the extra touches. And this is where you tend to be leaving money on the table. And I want to show you how you're doing that, and that this is, once you become aware of it, you can actually build these things into your packages. So just start to become aware of what is it that you're giving away because you don't know how to charge for it. You don't want to nickel and dime your clients. You don't want to think that when everything that just takes 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here comes up, you're adding it onto their bill. You don't want to be that type of person because you're doing your work because you care so deeply, and the money is secondary. And when we can go ahead and create packages, then it shifts the conversation to the money, and it gets you paid for everything that you bring to the table and so much more. These things that you're giving away are now included in your packages. So as a result of that, it increases your cash flow, your business becomes more profitable. You can do some of those next level things in your business that you've been postponing. And you might be able to take some time back in your personal life also, because what have you given up in order to be an entrepreneur? Did you stop running, going to the gym, getting together with friends for coffee, going out on Friday night at the end of the week to wrap up and just connect with people you know? What is it that you've been giving up, and what would it be like if we could bring that back into your life? You absolutely deserve this. So let's go through the value checklist. This is the entire value checklist, and just think about or write down notes as to which one applies for you, where you're just not charging for it, or bringing it into the value conversation when someone's thinking about working with you, or putting it in your work agreement. So the first one is response. I'm going to take a little bit of time as to show you how it could work with all three packages, the silver, the gold, and the diamond. First of all, you want to think about, how do you want to communicate with your clients? Do you want to go ahead and have them text you, email you, call you by phone? Those are different ways that they can connect with you. And what is the response time? So the response can be different for the different packages. If you're looking at the silver package, it might be that they can only email you and you will respond to them up to 72 hours. In the gold package, the communication could be where they can call you or they can email you, whichever is best for them, and you will respond to them within 1 to 3 business days. With the diamond package, the people that are getting more of a concierge VIP experience with you, they get access to your cell phone and they can text you or call you, and know as well as, so they have access to texting you, calling you, or email, whatever works best for them, and that you will respond to them, or someone from your team will, within 1 hour to 24 hours. So those are the different ways that we can bring response into your packages. The next thing is resources. Resources are your consultative services. That is your highest value, is your expertise, your intellectual property, what you know, because you have been doing this for a long, long time, and you're making a difference for your clients. So think about your consultative services. Think about where you give them additional resources as far as ways to be able to move forward, that you're connecting them with, or maybe there's additional training or workshops involved. Those are all things under resources. And you can go ahead and define different levels of resources in your different packages. For the silver package, it could be that you meet with everybody quarterly. For the gold package, you might have monthly meetings with all your clients that are in the gold package. And in your diamond package, you might have weekly conversations with all your clients in that particular package. So think about your resources, your consultative services, and how often you want to be able to touch your clients and add that extra value. Resolution is that, especially if you're managing technology or some type of service for your clients, sometimes things happen. Things break down. The technology isn't working as it's supposed to. You have to get on the phone with customer service. Or maybe there's a client that has a certain type of pain that you're dealing with, and you can treat that pain, but you need to do some additional research because there might be some conflict with medications, and you want to make sure that everything is compliant and working together. And you need to take some time to be able to get that information and education in order to serve them at the highest level. So if there's something that needs additional time of researching or working with customer service, then you can go ahead and build those things into those snafus, for lack of a better word, into your packages. The fourth thing is remedy. And remedy is where maybe something broke down, or it could be with technology. Your client tried to do something and they messed it up. And now you need to go back. You need to do some forensics work of figuring out where they made the mistake and then correcting that action to get them back to where they need to be and have it working properly. So think about where you spend time with remedy because something broke or they got their hands in there, they messed it up, and now you have to go fix it. The fifth part is relationships. This is so important as a trusted advisor. Think about you being a connector. You being a resource beyond just the work that you're doing for your clients, and that your clients have needs that you might not have the service to solve or the resources to solve. However, you might know someone else that does, and you can make a referral. And so your clients appreciate the fact that you already vetted this person. you trust them, you've worked with them before, you know that they have a great work ethic, and you want to make that connection for them so that they can just move on and take care of that. The other thing as far as relationships is that you are talking to people all the time. And it might be that you come across somebody in conversation that has a problem that your client solves. And now you can make a referral to your client with this particular person, and they might end up with a new client because you're making a connection. So think about your relationships. Your relationships have so much value. You're willing to open up your Rolodex to them and dial them in, whether it's connecting someone with them because someone might become their client, or you connecting them with a service that they need to hire. The sixth thing is write-offs. That's where you get concerned about nickel and diming your clients for the 5 minutes that it took to do this extra thing there, or the 10 minutes that you had a conversation about something here, or the 15 minutes of research that you had to look up to be able to resolve a particular issue that your clients are facing. But these are the little things that you're doing for your clients to help them move forward and achieve that result or fix that problem, and you're not charging them for it. With the value-based pricing and the packages, we go ahead and include those things also so that you don't have to go and do something for your client and you're not getting compensated for it. And the seventh thing is reconcile. Reconcile is for those clients that have some exceptions, some adjustments that most of your clients don't have. This might be where they want you to travel to them and be on site. That means time away from your business going to their business. When you're working on site, it usually takes longer for you to do your work because you have interruptions now with conversations and questions. Reconciling also might be where they have different technology than you have, and you have to learn their technology in order to be able to give them that service and help them achieve that result or fix that problem. The other thing with reconciling might be that all of a sudden something became urgent and they need something done quicker than usual. You have to reprioritize the rest of your workflow in order to be able to adjust and meet their needs. And that might be something that you can charge for as well. And let me give you an example as to how that works and how we all do that all the time. Think about FedEx. You have to be able to get a contract to a client and it needs to be there tomorrow. Well, you could do snail mail, but it's sure not going to get there tomorrow. But you could overnight it. And if you overnight it with FedEx, then you will probably pay 3 to 4 times the rate than if it could have gone ground. So there's something about all of a sudden urgency and time is of the essence, a short deadline, and that raises the value of what you have to offer also. And you can actually charge for having to readjust your entire workflow in order to accommodate this deadline. So these are the 7 different ways that you can look at your value checklist of things that you're doing, and we can build them into your packages. With Brian, he is a loan officer. When I first met him, he is in a county of maybe 250,000 people, working for a nationwide mortgage company, Guild Mortgage. And he comes from really wanting to deliver exceptional service for his client. He's a nice guy. He's a yes guy. So he says yes to everything, whether it helps his business or not, simply because he doesn't like saying no. And he really doesn't know how to without feeling like he's letting someone down or disappointing someone. So we focused on becoming aware of what it is that he wants to achieve over the next year with his business, what his growth strategy is, the things that he's doing that are aligned with his growth strategy, things that really aren't helping him move forward. When things come to him, how to be able to triage whether it ought to be a yes, or maybe it ought to be not right now. And looking at how to have that conversation. Because he was able to really focus more energy on the service that he offers, being able to position himself as the expert for his industry, and working with a very particular type of client with helping them get a mortgage, he was able to not just rank the top 1% of loan originators in the country, but he's currently ranked at number 6 in the country. like I said, he works with a nationwide firm, and that he lives in a very small community of 250,000 people. But it just shows you that it's not necessarily about how much access you have to people. It's about the quality that you offer, the level of service and that customer experience that makes a difference, that he positioned himself as a service trusted advisor that can help his clients get a specific result, which was helping them get in the home of their dreams. He would go through thick and thin, anything to help them get a mortgage and really get that dream home. So think about that for you. It's not necessarily about the population of where you are. It's really about what you bring to the table, how you position yourself to separate yourself from everybody else in your industry, and how that attracts ideal clients to you because they see the value that you have to offer. So we covered transitioning your pricing, develop your packages, and the extra touches. If you're interested in having a further conversation of how this would look like in your business, how it would make a difference of shifting you from charging by the hour into value-based pricing, being able to identify your niche and shift over to packages, then go ahead and go to businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk. Feel free to go ahead and fill out the couple questions that I'm asking. I will put the link in the chat. If I can find the chat. I can't find the chat. That's okay. So go over to businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk. I have put aside time for 5 conversations. And if you're someone who really took away something from our conversation, you see the value of how this would work in your business, and that you're really looking to take your business to the next level to make even a bigger impact for your clients and possibly reach more clients, then let's go ahead and have a conversation. Once again, you value our time together. You value investing in yourself, whether it's time, money, or energy, and what the possibility would look like if you could take your business to the next level by focusing on being that advisor and shifting away from solely doing the compliance work. Would love to have a conversation with you. Once again, businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk. Please reach out. Let me know what you took away from this. Would love to hear from you. Thank you so much, and I look forward to talking to you soon.